Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Center Court. I'm John Byrne with Poets and Quants. I'm the founder and the editor-in-chief and the CEO, and we have an incredible panel for you. We're going to talk about the future of work with the career people from 3 great business schools. And I think it's going to be a really fascinating discussion in light of, the recent round of tech layoffs that have affected the economy and what that may bode for MBAs who actually want to go still into technology when they graduate. So let me introduce our 3 panelists first. We have from Case Western University, that's the Weatherhead School, Courtney Giese. She's Career and Employer Development Manager. Welcome, Courtney. We have from Emory's Goizueta Business School, Liz Chilla, the Senior Director of MBA Career Advising and Programming. This afternoon, she's going to give a little class on the fundamentals of careers to their newly entered first-year MBAs. And then from Michigan Ross, we have Heather Byrne, the Managing Director of Career Development Office. Hey, welcome, everybody.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's in fact talk about let's get what may be considered by some bad news out of the way. Now, most of the people who are going to be watching this webinar are those who will be entering or applying to business school in this next cycle, meaning that they wouldn't graduate for another 2.5, 3 years. So this may all be, as it often is the case, a totally, irrelevant issue, right, for them. But nonetheless, I'm sure that they're concerned that, you read the headlines of all the tech layoffs, and you wonder, what is the future of tech? So if I don't want to be a consultant, I don't want to go into finance, I don't want to go into healthcare or consumer products, which are all really, the key industries in which MBAs gravitate. What about tech? Heather, why don't you start us off and tell us what you think it's going to be like in a few years in the technology industry for MBAs?
Sure. So I think, your initial point is well made. So that is the students that we're talking to right now are those that are going to graduate in a couple of years. So 2026 probably. And we're always looking at, the job today is not the job tomorrow. And I think I can probably speak for my peers when I say that we are teaching career skills for life, job searching skills for life. So I think if we start there, rest assured that, I guess the good and the bad news is this will not be the first time any student is seeing a downturn in the market. So we want to make sure we are preparing and readying students for the long term, so that you're always ready to find a great job at any time. So I think if we just kind of start there as the foundation. And I know, at Ross, we start working with our students as soon as they're admitted. So right now we are busy working with our incoming students to get them ready. And we have a long preparation that we work with them over the summer to get them ready so their resume is ready to go before they even set foot on campus. So I think that's a good place to start. So with tech, I think it's also important to remember, and we've heard this in the media a lot, that there was a lot of kind of overhiring, not just in tech, but in every industry, right? Everybody kind of expanded to meet a lot of needs, or maybe not, as we've also heard. And then everybody's kind of coming back to what we might call normal. And, this is an important thing that we've had to tell our students also, because the MBA 2-year memory is very short. So, the 2s hear from the 1s or the 1s hear from the 2s that they had, 13 offers last year. That is not normal. 99% employment is not normal. It's amazing and fantastic, but it's not an expectation that everybody should have all the time. So I think we always want to keep things in perspective and rely on the fact that we are always teaching students to be adaptable, resilient, and have good foundational job searching skills. So that's That's the long longevity that we're working on. And we're also, I mean, our faculty are always looking at what are the new great things out there that we need to be teaching, the programming skills, the new skills in the marketplace that we have to be mapping to make sure that our students stay relevant.
Yeah, all true. And I like the point that you make, that you're teaching skills that are relevant over a lifetime. And that's incredibly important because, after all, it's not just the first job you get out of business school. It's really setting you up for a lifetime fulfilled career. Now, Liz, I wonder if you think that the onset of artificial intelligence, and frankly, the war that's going on in Silicon Valley with new startups, early stage companies, and the big gorillas, the Googles, the Microsofts, all racing to beat out each other in AI, could actually lead to a whole other renaissance in technology jobs, because you don't have to know programming or code to get a job. In fact, there are plenty of jobs in finance, HR, operations, marketing, sales, strategy, in all of these companies, which are the jobs that typically MBAs do. Liz, what do you think?
I mean, I think when you start to break down how AI is expanding in these different companies, an important way to be thinking about it as an MBA is that AI is a tool, it's not a replacement. And I think that, when you bring AI into what these companies are doing, when you have this data to be able to interpret, what we need right now from MBAs are storytellers, are decision makers, are people that are kind of at the front end of that and at the back end of that, with this well-rounded skill set that includes, not just kind of a familiarity in working with and interpreting data, but being able to tell a story with that and turning that data into impactful decision-making and impactful work. And that's, I think, something that MBAs are extremely well-equipped to do. They've been well-equipped to do that, I think, from the beginning. And then now, as MBA programs are starting to kind of expand how they teach about using technology and using analytics, we're just setting MBAs up for kind of having careers that are going to be really beneficial and competitive when we think about, what is necessary in the future.
Right. Now, Liz, getting away from technology, what are some of the current industry trends overall that you see shaping the future of work, and how are they likely to impact MBA employment in the future?
It's interesting you say, like, getting away from technology, because I think one of the things to think about is that, technology is an industry, but it also is a function in some respect. So, like, when we start to talk to students who have, may have initially come in with an interest in technology, or wanted to do that when they thought about their MBA, but then have certainly seen how layoffs have impacted that industry. Well, one of the things that I talk about with students is that you can do things in product management and product marketing management across different industries. There's opportunity in fintech, there's opportunity in healthcare, and you're building a similar skill set, but you're able to do it maybe in an area that is kind of more ripe for expansion or opportunity, because all of these companies have had to expand how they use technology. So I think, if I were kind of thinking about this from my coaching perspective, it's like really trying to understand, for a student coming into the program, is the goal to build and develop a new skill set, or is the goal to kind of break into an industry that really speaks to you, and provide them with guidance in that respect on what's the best path to do that, given what we're seeing in the market right now and maybe where things could be in the next, 3 to 5 years.
Right. Courtney, you have a perspective on all this?
Yeah, sure. I completely echo everything that Liz and Heather have said as far as, the future of work. The increase in remote and hybrid workforce is also a big thing that our students are, considering now as we look at how that changes work. The pandemic, allowed companies and employees to see that the work could be done remotely. So that's a huge trend that is, our MBAs are having to consider as they think about their future career moves. But it also opens the door to all kinds of possibilities where you're not limited based on geography and able to interact with more companies. So Yeah, I echo everything that Heather and Liz said.
And Courtney, there has been talk that in the US at least, the 2-year residential MBA is now a mature product. And what goes along with that is maybe some people think, an MBA today may not be as necessary as it once was. What's your view on that?
Yeah, so I think that an MBA is always going to be important for leaders as they're going into these organizations. As Heather said earlier, it really gives you the fundamental understanding of how to run a business, but also focusing on the interpersonal skills that are necessary to be a leader and a team member. So I think that the MBA as a product is always going to be vital for the success of businesses. There's so many transferable skills that MBAs use and can help benefit organizations. So it's not just the emphasis on the technical skills that they learn throughout the program, but also those interpersonal skills, learning how to work with diverse groups of people, how to examine problems. So it's really a combination of the technical and the interpersonal skills that make MBA graduates valuable. So I don't think the MBA as a product is ever going to be not valuable in that way. I know that, as schools look at the future of workforce and have opportunities for part-time MBAs and executive MBAs and different programs, that can address some of the other ways of obtaining, an MBA and getting those skills. But I think those skills that you learn throughout an MBA program will always be valuable and valued in the workforce.
Yeah, that's so true. And let's face it, the world is not getting simpler or easier or less competitive. If anything, it's much more complicated. It's much more sophisticated. Competition is everywhere. And what does an MBA do? It prepares you to succeed in a complicated world where there are not easy answers, where sometimes the analysis that you have is totally incomplete, but you have to make a decision. And it allows you to develop skills to persuade others of a path forward, which is a real key part of the MBA. I agree with you. I think the future of the MBA is very strong, very needed, and will not only survive, but thrive over the next few decades for sure. Now, Heather, we've gone through a really uncertain period. We obviously had the pandemic, and there's still elements of that out there. We went through the social justice movement. I wonder how those bigger global trends are impacting the future of work.
Yeah, so I think what we've seen is, and I think, Courtney alluded to this a little bit too, obviously more hybrid work. I think we've seen more attentiveness to taking care of the humans that do the work. There's more attentiveness to well-being and wellness at work. And it's not coincidence that that is a result of a hybrid workforce. I think there's a lot more attention being paid to how do you create, maintain, and put together your culture. And I think when we look at a hybrid workforce, especially when we have gone through, especially in higher education too, but we look at people leaving the workforce and then coming into a workforce, and you look at onboarding, how do you now use those signals of your culture? How do you articulate your culture and community to your workforce and ensure that people feel that sense of community? And when we look at our MBAs and how they are going to now lead in that kind of an environment, it's going to be really important that they know how to immediately identify those signals of culture and community and be able to espouse them in their leadership and create that culture. And I think that's one of the benefits of having a residential MBA program is all of the networking that you do, all of the group work that you do. At Ross, we put students in assigned groups for each course. So it's not just one learning group for your entire first year, but there's several different learning groups. And that working in different groups with different people, I can't think of any other environment than getting your MBA where you are going to be exposed to so many people from different backgrounds, so many smart, intelligent, motivated people from different backgrounds that are going to help you develop those leadership skills to help you excel in a hybrid workforce, which is the result of what we've seen from COVID. And then that's also going to help you know how to work in an inclusive environment, which is necessary in what we've seen from all the social justice movement.
Yeah, definitely true. And obviously there is a lot of talk and a lot of action on diversity and inclusion. Liz, I wonder if you might weigh in on, how that's going to play out. I mean, we are expecting a Supreme Court decision any moment now, and the general consensus is that the Supreme Court, with the supermajority of conservatives, will, not to get political on you, but will in fact ban race-conscious admissions, at least. How will this play out in business and the future of work, though?
No, I mean, I think the topic of diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that certainly at Goizueta has been top of mind. We introduced a diversity, equity, and inclusion concentration just recently. And so thinking about this in kind of a more well-rounded fashion, kind of, echoing a little bit about what Heather shared, is that adaptability and leadership skills and all of the things that we're teaching MBAs from a soft skills perspective have to take this kind of this approach to thinking about inclusion as more people are coming to work, being acknowledged kind of as a whole person and all of the different things that they bring to work from kind of outside in the world. So, we have classes here talking about bias in the workplace, about managing diverse teams, about principled leadership. I think a big part of thinking about kind of the future of work and how DE&I impacts what that looks like is also thinking about the people who are making the decisions and the people in leadership roles, and we as business schools are kind of tasked with being able to create, a new workforce and educate a new workforce that is going to be making some of those big decisions and thinking about inclusion in a different way. So yeah, certainly top of mind for us. I think that, getting students ready for those types of diverse leadership positions, making sure they understand how to work in diverse teams, and providing a platform and experiential learning opportunities for them to feel like adaptable, principled decision-making is something that they're really prepared for.
Right. Courtney, at Weatherhead, how are you dealing with the issue of diversity and inclusion?
Yeah, I think it's really important to send students out into the workforce who are, really equipped to, as Liz mentioned, working in diverse teams. And as Heather mentioned, we also have different project groups that they work in within the program and a lot of them are paired based on, personality and really just making sure that the teams are diverse in that they have all kinds of different backgrounds. So, throughout their time within the program, they are exposed to all these different situations, working with diverse individuals and really having, the opportunity to come up with innovative solutions based on everyone having different backgrounds, different life experiences. And that's a really great opportunity to have those students who become graduates enter the workforce and bring those, experiential educational opportunities with them. We try to, educate students so that they become, educated employees when they leave the program. And really just to be transparent with our internal structures, how we teach, and to really make an effort to allow students to express that individuality through different student resource groups, different clubs, things that really allow them to express their individuality while they're at school and prepare them to be an employee who's able to make those decisions in leadership positions in the future.
Yep, true. And Heather, you started us off on the diversity angle, but I don't think you explored it entirely in the context of Ross. Here's your shot.
Well, I mean, I think, like I mentioned, I mean, we have such a diverse group of students, and we put a lot of intentionality behind the inclusion effort. As you know, we are a member of consortium. We have a great consortium class, and we have some faculty that are very committed to research in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so, I mean, I think like just a lot of business schools have recognized that this is an important part of the business education. You have to value a diverse workforce and honor inclusion. I mean, you can have diversity, but if you don't have inclusion, you are not going to move the needle on making successful business decisions or being a successful business. And I think that's been something that's been recognized. But Ross has definitely been a leader. The University of Michigan has definitely been a longstanding leader in the area of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I think we are well prepared to educate and ensure that our students are leaders in that area.
One of the things I really like about business education is that it's very responsive to the needs of employers. The curriculum changes on a regular basis. In many cases, there are major revamps. They are always done in consultation with students, alumni, and employers. So when data analytics has become important, schools have rushed out and really deepened their electives in the data analytical field, along with putting more data analytics into the core curriculum. When globalization was emerging in a big way, curriculums began to include a lot more global case studies and global immersion trips. And of course, the diversity of the classes themselves lend to this, along with the diversity of the faculty from all over the world. And now the same is happening with AI and diversity. And I wonder, just stepping back from what people really learn in an MBA program, the skills and knowledge that they get, what do you think are the most valuable skills and tools that graduates actually get in an MBA program that will secure their future in the future of work? Heather?
Well, I think the most valuable one is leadership. I mean, I think you have to be, well, let me qualify that, good leadership. I mean, good leadership is essential. We're navigating uncertainty, and navigating uncertainty is basically the future, right? The future is changing rapidly. And in an uncertain environment, you need to have vision, you need to have adaptability, you need to be innovative. I think those are hallmarks of a good MBA program. They are what we teach and provide an environment for in our MBA program. So when you put talented students together from all over the world and you challenge and support them, the result is future leaders who are prepared to create a positive culture, work in an inclusive environment, create change, and lead the world to a better place. So I think leadership is the main one. For us, one of the great ways we do that is through action-based learning. You put students in a situation where they are working with a real company, they are challenged, they have constant changing environments, they are put in situations where there's change, there's challenge, but they are also surrounded with support, right? It's the age-old student affairs mantra of challenge and support. And that's how you help students grow and see their real potential and give them that confidence to lead their way through a challenge. And that's what the future world expects of them. And that's how MBAs are going to make a change in the future of work.
Yeah, that's a good point. I will say this too. In all the conversations I've had, and there have been many, with deans, faculty members, folks in the career management offices, on the admission staffs, no matter where they are, we rarely ever talk about accounting, finance, marketing, strategy, and operations. What we talk about is a more holistic view of what you get from an MBA. And a lot of it is about leading, a lot of it is about persuading, and a lot of it is about collaborating with people who are different than you to come up with a more positive and more effective solution. And I think, a lot of people may not get that when they actually apply to a business school. They may be thinking about the old-fashioned discipline-based tools, but in fact, this is really, the secret sauce of the success of business education. Liz, you agree, disagree?
No, I agree. I mean, I think that, when we consider kind of why in our program, for example, the core classes are the way that they are, so, you talk about finance or accounting, that's kind of baseline, right? Every MBA going into the workforce is going to have that skill set, but what makes them valuable and what makes them unique is being able to kind of break down problems, to be able to, as you said, have persuasive communication skills. I think kind of breaking down what Heather was talking about in even a more granular level, that leadership is so important. I would say taking that, even more granularly to thinking about how people communicate with one another, as we think about the future of work, as it relates to things in technology, data analysis, inclusion, like all of it comes down to being able to connect with other people and communicate and tell stories and develop strategy and be persuasive. And so, you're going to have those baseline foundational skills that allow you to be successful, but then you have all of these soft skills that really kind of round things out that allow you to excel. And I think that's when you think about the real value of the MBA. I think this point has been brought up already today. It's not just about that job that you take immediately after graduation, but how this skill set you've developed in the time in the program allows your career to really accelerate and feel prepared to take on those leadership roles in the future, as we're talking, 5, 10, 15 years down the road after you've graduated. And that comes from those soft skills that complement the more technical hard skills.
Yeah, really true. I mean, I like to think of an MBA as EQ and IQ, as left brain and right brain. And it's one of the few programs and one of the few schools in the academy that really devotes so much attention to professional development. Now, Courtney, how do you treat professional development at Weatherhead? Because I often consider that just sanding down the rough edges, making people complete professionals who are persuasive, who are effective, is a key ingredient. How do you treat that at Weatherhead?
Yeah, thank you. We treat it as a continuous journey throughout their whole time in the program. We actually start in the summer. We're working with our incoming fall students now to get to know them, to understand their background, their passions, what they want to pursue during the MBA program and after, so that we can really get a good understanding of where they want to be at the end of the program, and that can help us guide them throughout. So right now we're in the process of working with them to get to know them before they come in the fall. And we also have a career development course that's part of their core curriculum in the first semester of their MBA, which I think is a really valuable tool to really kind of, we've got people coming in from all different work backgrounds, different industries, and then being able to get them all together and talk with them introspectively about, what's the career that you want to do? Why do you want to pursue this career? What skill gaps, are you looking to fill during the MBA program? And really kind of that fundamental understanding of how to use your network, how to interview, how to really utilize all the resources that the school has to offer in order to achieve that goal at the end of the year. And that continues throughout their time in the program. They go through a lead course that is really about understanding their motivations and how to work with others in their team, really helping to be introspective and understand themselves so that they can use, they can understand how they work to achieve those goals that they're interested in after the program. So the career development continues throughout their time. We bring in lots of employers and alumni to work with them throughout, mentor programs to help them continue throughout the program, and really just support them through their internship and full-time job search all the way through until they become alumni.
Right, that's great. Now we've talked about AI, we've talked about diversity, and we've talked about data analytics, but one area that we haven't yet addressed is sustainability. Courtney, what role does sustainability play at the Weatherhead School and in the MBA program? What kind of exposure can an MBA get to that new emerging industry organized around climate change?
Yeah, we have a lot of MBAs who are coming in to pivot to sustainability. We have the amazing opportunity because the Fowler Center Business as an Agent of World Benefit is located within Weatherhead. And so students have the opportunity to be a Fowler Fellow where they're working with businesses who are looking to increase sustainability within their organizations. So through that center on our campus, they have the opportunity to work directly with companies who are doing this day in, day out, help them strategize how to use their business to promote sustainability, to increase their own sustainability initiatives within their organizations. And so that's a huge opportunity for students who are interested in pursuing sustainability to get that hands-on experience with real organizations who are already doing it within the community.
Liz, how about an Emory? What's your exposure to sustainability and all the careers that are going to develop in that area of the economy?
Sure. Yeah. Emory University as a whole has a pretty strong commitment to sustainability. It's something that you see just walking around the campus. And so that obviously is going to have an influence on the students that choose to come here and how they think about, and whether it's involvement with clubs or nonprofits or our Center for Business and Society. So certainly a topic of conversation. And, you know, when I was thinking about this topic, when you first asked the question, I think it's not just kind of the school's commitment to the area and how they teach on the potential for working in sustainability, but you know, again, kind of putting on my career coach hat, when I start to work with students, it's also about understanding the values that are important to them when they think about their future employer. And so when I start to hear about things like sustainability or corporate social responsibility from students, it's not just about kind of working in that field, but also choosing to align yourself with a company that has a commitment to that area. And so, you know, as business schools, I think it's part of our responsibility to not only equip students to be able to be future leaders in that area, but also provide them with kind of the tools and understanding to ask really thoughtful and deliberate questions of their employers as they're selecting where they're planning to work. And as they become employees and want to maybe kind of challenge or expand or refine maybe some of the business practices within those companies. So, so I think it's kind of like a skills perspective, and also, you know, making sure that we're kind of teaching students to be curious and thoughtful about how they think about their impact and the impact that they'll be able to make in their future organizations.
Heather, do you think sustainability is going to be a big part of the future work?
Yes, I do. And I think one thing that's been interesting to see in the last probably 10 or so years is that, you know, it's something that I think, you know, a while ago, it was kind of a separate entity. You know, students would come in and they would say, you know, I want to go into sustainability. It's like this thing over here. And now I think we're seeing it as something that's all encompassing. And I think it's going to be really important for students, MBA students, to put sustainability and social responsibility into the core of business strategy. You know, so the focus in the world has changed. So all graduates will need to be equipped with some knowledge and understanding of sustainability and social responsibility. We definitely attract those types of students at Ross. Many of our faculty are passionate about it. So through curriculum and our Herb Institute, our dual degree programs, we definitely create an environment where to ensure our MBA graduates will be prepared, and that surely aligns with our whole Ross mission and strategy. And I think we see it also with, you know, we have over 100 programs at Michigan that are in the top 10. So it really makes us stand out, and we see that across our campus as well. But I think one of the big things that we're seeing just in the readiness for work is the emphasis of that being part of a core business strategy, and not just something over here as a siloed element in business anymore. It is part of a core business strategy for companies now.
Great. Yeah, I really see that as well. And you see schools really upping their game on this area because they know, number one, students really want it and demand it. And number two, employers are now looking for people who are sensitive to the issues of climate change and can help them deal with it in the future. One thing that never goes away is how uncertain life is and how unpredictable it can be. And I think, if anything, the pandemic reminded us in an awful way of how unpredictable things can in fact be. And I almost think it did something else. It taught us that there is no certainty anymore, that, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And so we have to train people who are agile enough and nimble enough to be able to move on a dime and work effectively no matter what happens, and see these disruptions as challenges as opposed to hurdles. And I wonder, Liz, at Goizueta, what are you doing to make students more adaptable into this uncertain, unpredictable world? And and let's face it, humans hate change. But yes, change is constant and permanent, and we know how we have to deal with it. So what is Goizueta doing to make sure that its MBA graduates are well equipped to deal with these unpredictable futures?
Yeah, it's funny, in some ways, kind of having just gone through a more unique hiring, like recruiting season, it was kind of like a microcosm in terms of like dealing with adaptability and teaching students how to adapt, because they may have come into an MBA program thinking that they were going to recruit for certain jobs. And then you see the impact of layoffs, you see, the impact of maybe softer hiring numbers. And so how do students maybe course correct and think about their goals in a different way? And, one of the big conversations that we have with students in the Career Center on a regular basis is focusing on the things you can control, right? Like there's you can't control what's happening in the market. You can't control how a company is hiring, but you can control how you present yourself, how competitive you are for the process. You can control the types of roles that you apply to, where you feel like you are well aligned and could be a good fit. And so I think that we've had to kind of work with students with this adaptability mentality, which, to be honest, whether you're working or in an MBA program, you're adapting to the market in some way, of course. But the benefit of doing it in an MBA program is that you're, building your skill set up at the same time. And so trying to kind of capitalize on the fact that these students are only making themselves more competitive while they're in the program. They can adapt to, maybe where there are opportunities for hiring. And again, think about the things that they can control in terms of how they present to employers and to the world. And so I think that in many ways, that what happens in that kind of very unique recruiting process where you have to adapt is excellent preparation when it comes to resilience and communication, for what they're going to be facing in the workforce. So I hope that, we can be teaching them those skills that they'll then be able to use in a business context.
You need a plan B and maybe even a plan C. Courtney, what's your take on this issue? Teaching.
Yeah, I completely agree with, a lot of the economic factors that are affecting students who are looking for internships and opportunities now. It's really important to have that agility and flexibility and to have that grit to persevere, even if that first goal position, if that doesn't work out, what are the next steps that you can take in order to, I really like what Liz was saying with the, what can you control in the situation? So really it's about understanding that it is okay to pivot. It is okay to adjust expectations when you're looking for opportunities. It's really about that career growth and what will give you the opportunity to get to where you want to be in the future and give you the skills that'll be necessary to lead those opportunities in the future. So really just working with students on how to really just maximize the resources that we have through our alumni networks and through our career office to help them along that path as they kind of discover what's that next step.
Right. Now, Heather, I know you are like me. You hate change. Just kidding. I think change is opportunity.
Yeah.
And I really think that when things are unpredictable, it leads to whole new possibilities as opposed to, oh my God, what am I going to do? No, it's wow, how am I going to make it happen? You know? But here's another issue, and I wonder if each of you can address it. What are you doing to make sure that your graduates will not be replaced in the future by an algorithm? Heather?
Well, I'll go back to what Liz said at the beginning, which I thought was a perfect way to say it. I mean, algorithms, AI, they're a tool, you know. Our MBA graduates are not tools, you know, they are humans that have judgment, that have character, that have empathy. And so we work to develop all of those things while they are here. So we help them develop character, empathy, judgment, leadership. So those are the things that are going to make humans always stand above and beyond what any kind of a tool can do. Tools work to make things more efficient, and humans work to make things better, you know, not necessarily efficient, but more, yeah, just better is the best word I can come up with right now. But
better is good.
Yeah, better is good. Better is better than good. So that's how I would frame it. I mean, we invest in people, and that's what you've seen when you read all the articles from McKinsey and Deloitte and everyone talking about the future of work. It's the investment that you put in the people. And it's the same thing in any business school, right? We're investing in our students as people and helping them develop their character and their leadership skills and what's going to set them apart from other people. It's the same thing when we think about change and how people deal with change. The best way to do that is, how do you develop confidence? You know, if you want a six-pack, you've got to do crunches. So if you want to develop confidence, you've got to do reps. So you need experiences to help you develop confidence. And that's what an MBA program is going to do, is give you all these amazing experiences that are going to put you out of your comfort zone so that you can look back and say, I did that. Wow, I can't believe I did that. That breeds confidence. That's attractive to an employer. That's attractive to a recruiter. It's attractive to people who you want to follow you as you lead. And those are the kinds of experiences that you need to build your confidence. And that helps you go through change because it develops your mindset.
Well, I think that is a splendid answer. I love it. And I almost think it's so darn good I have to end on it, because really, you were incredibly eloquent there. Remember, an MBA is not a tool. MBA is a person with judgment, with ethical standards, with courage, hopefully, with leadership ability, with the skill to collaborate with others. It's a way to make you better. Hey, thank you so much for participating here. I really appreciate it. Courtney, Liz, and Heather, thank you for all your great insights. Really appreciated it. And if you have any questions about the future of work, I'm sure they were answered in these last 45 minutes by these three terrific panelists. Thank you for watching.